It is a Monday, January 22nd. Thanks for tuning in. The Morning Wake Up here on Steve Shetler Media. I am your host, Steve Shetler. Glad to have you along on this Monday. And let's jump into it. Let's get a look at our forecast here on Steve Shetler Media. It's brought to us by our friends at the Garden Gate. And you can see the Garden Gate at 105 South Jefferson in Sigourney, 641-622-3191. Get a hold of Cindy and the gals at the Garden Gate. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturdays, 9 to noon. They've got fresh floral arrangements. They've got jewelry. They've got home decor, sympathy gifts. They got something for everybody. And they can get you hooked up for Valentine's Day that's coming up too. So Garden Gate in Sigourney sponsoring our forecast, which has, oh boy, a winter weather advisory. Yeah, that's what we needed. Woo! More winter. Winter weather advisory is in effect this evening at 6 p.m. That goes through noon tomorrow. Anybody else sick of winter? Raise your hand. Slight chance of some sleet this morning, otherwise cloudy and a high of 34. So warmer temps, finally. You could definitely feel it this morning. South winds continuing to blow in that warmer air at 10 to 15 miles per hour, maybe some higher gusts. Tonight, some rain, snow, and freezing rain before 3 a.m. Then some rain, maybe some snow and freezing rain toward the morning. Low hovering right around that freezing mark of 32, and south winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. New ice accumulation. Ice, baby. New ice accumulation less than a tenth of an inch. But, you get any sort of ice accumulation, and things are going to get slippery, pretty quick. So tonight, if you're doing any late night travel into tomorrow morning, be advised, could be slick. Again, our forecast for tomorrow has a 100% chance of some rain, maybe mixing with some sleet. And that's kind of throughout the day. A high of 34, little or no sleet accumulation expected for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, a slight chance of some rain late after midnight, a low of 32. And then rain on Wednesday, a high of 36. Now, that winter weather advisory, once again, that goes into effect at 6 p.m. this evening. Let's get some of the deets on that. For southeast Iowa, mixed precip expected, total accumulation of snow possibly up to an inch. And again, ice accumulations up to 1/10 of an inch for Keokuk and the surrounding area. That goes from 6 p.m. this evening through noon tomorrow. Plan on slippery road conditions. Could impact the morning commute. So tomorrow morning when you're getting up, might expect or at least plan on some slick conditions. So maybe give yourself some extra time tomorrow morning when you're getting up and about. Use caution while traveling. As always, use 511 to your advantage. 511, the travel app. You can use the website or just call 511 and get the latest traveling information. So again, tomorrow morning could be a little slick, a little slippery, a little tricky. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, current conditions right now, wind speeds are south at about 15 miles per hour. The barometric pressure, let's see, the old barometer is reading 30.06, and then currently 28 degrees here in southeast Iowa. But again, a winter weather advisory, 6 p.m. tonight through noon tomorrow. Our forecast brought to us by the Garden Gate in Sigourney. How you guys doing? It's 7:05, and other things going on. Let's see here. We will have our question of the day a little bit later on today. That goes up during the noon hour. Amy's Salon House and Spa always brings us our question of the day. You can see Amy at 202 North Main in Sigourney. Call or text for an appointment, 641-622-3772. Hair and spa services, extensions, products, tanning. You can see all their products going right along the graphic right there. The question that'll go up later on today, and you can think about this, maybe the weather will factor into your answer or your comment. When you eventually retire, Are you going to live where you are right now? Which, if you're seeing this, is probably in southeast Iowa or in Iowa. Or are you going to move someplace else? Maybe where it's warmer. So something to think about. You can answer that later on today, right around the noon hour, for the question of the day brought to us by Amy's Salon House and Spa. Again, we're doing the morning wake-up coming up later on this week. Something to think about. We'll have our Iowa Music Showcase. We had Luke Stutzman in on Friday. Didn't have a whole lot of a crowd at Barnwired for our Iowa Music Showcase on Friday, just because it was so dang cold. Coming up this Friday, we will have Day of Days Live Music. Young lady from southeast Iowa that is, if I had to describe her music, it would be kind of like, if you're familiar with Jewel. When I hear Day, I think of Jewel. So Day's Live Music, she is a really cool young lady, super talented. She'll be hanging out with us on Friday at the Iowa Music Showcase in Barnwired and Sigourney. Also coming up this week here on Steve Shetler Media, we'll have some Keota basketball. Man, I tell you what, the weather better shape up and allow us to get our basketball in and wrestling. And, all these sports just getting bombarded with weather the last few weeks. We need to get our games in, our sports in. And this week here on Steve Shetler Media, we plan to have basketball for Keota on Tuesday and Friday, as English Valleys will be at Keota tomorrow night, 6 o'clock for girls and boys. And then Friday, we'll have Keota at Tri-County for JV and varsity boys. So tune in. If the weather allows, Tuesday and Friday evenings for Keota basketball here on Steve Shetler Media. And then coming up on Saturday, of course, we'll have the sports section live at Brothers Market, as it will be featuring the Sigourney boys basketball squad. We'll have some of the players in. We'll have Coach Eslick. Again, that's coming up on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. for the sports section live at Brothers Market. All right, I think that's some of the stuff we got coming up this week. I apologize. Some of my info running along the bottom here and my little ticker isn't up to speed. I had a bunch of things going on today. I tell you what, here in a little while, I'm going to be putting up our Athlete of the Week poll, sponsored by Keokuk County Hospital and Clinics. And I put up a post last night asking for some help for some nominations, for some nominees from our area schools, and I got a ton. So either I'm going to have to make the hard decision to trim it down a little bit, or we're going to have a list, let me get it in the screen. It'll be it's starting to write this, here, I can't talk, about this big, and now it's this big. So we'll see. We'll see who all gets on the list. We added EBF and Montezuma to our list of schools to popular demand last night. So we're expanding. And I tell you what, that leads me into my next thing. I don't know if you really watch numbers or just see how things are going on my page, but and I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just telling you facts here. In the last month, Facebook will tell me how many people I've reached, how many individuals I've reached with content on the page here on Facebook, on Steve Shetler Media. Let's see, I gotta look because I just want to be sure. Over 500,000, over 500,000 people have seen something from Steve Shetler Media's Facebook page in the last month. That is crazy. That is insane. I'm just blown away. Again, 500,000 people, over 500,000 people have seen something from the Steve Shetler Media Facebook page. So, of course, we broadcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, but that is insane. I don't know what to say. Thank you guys for sharing, for liking, for commenting, for sending stars, whatever you do to make things possible here on Steve Shetler Media. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Over 500,000 people have seen content from Steve Shetler Media in the last month. Mind-blowing. And of course, we thank these people right here, the sponsors that rotate all the time in the corner, for making things possible. We got the sponsors rotating there. We've got, Amy's Salon House that does the question. We've got Garden Gate that does the weather. We're picking up other sponsors for individual shows. We're adding shows. Just last week, we added the pro wrestling podcast, which will be coming up tonight again with the Card Subject to Change guys. We just added the Morgan You Asked For Sports podcast that comes up Thursday nights. Both of those are Iowa-based shows. So keeping everything here in Iowa. I announced here, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Last week I announced that we'll be having some local racing coverage. We're getting that finalized. We'll have some announcements on that coming up. So man, hang on. If you thought the last half of last year was wild, things are going to get even more wild 2024 here on Steve Shetler Media. So glad to have you guys along for the ride. We are having a good time doing it. Let's go ahead and do some of our normal stuff. By the way, let's get into some good mornings. Good morning to you, Jason. Looking at the comments here, we've got Nancy, Eloise. Oh, Eloise hanging out in Florida. Well, lucky you. Good morning to you, Amber, Art, Tamra. Yes, boo to the forecast. Jenny, Kurt and Kathy, Sandy, Kay, Melissa. God bless you guys. Thank you for hanging out. Let's go ahead and do some birthdays. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. All right. Let's see here. Birthdays for today. Let me get my list. First and foremost, the big birthday that we're celebrating here in Iowa is that one. The GOAT. The greatest of all time, at least in women's basketball. Happy 22nd birthday to Caitlin Clark, Iowa Hawkeye. Man, she had 45 points in that tough overtime loss to Ohio State yesterday. She got ran over by a fan afterwards, but she just keeps on chugging along. Caitlin Clark, I know she'd rather be celebrating a victory from yesterday, but we're still celebrating her today. 22 years old for Caitlin Clark. Look at that. She's got a Steve Shetler Media basketball. At least it looks like it. Caitlin Clark, 22nd birthday today. So happy birthday to you, Caitlin. I know she's a big fan of Steve Shetler Media. No, she's not. Maybe she knows about this. I don't know. I think she should come on to the show sometime. Caitlin Clark, if you're watching, you are more than welcome to show up on Steve Shetler Media. All right, other birthdays for today, other than Caitlin, we've got football coach George Seifert, mastermind of the 49ers back in the 80s, turning 84 years old today, George Seifert. We've got Steve Perry. Oh, Sherry. Steve Perry, former lead singer of Journey, 75 years old. We've got singer and bass player Teddy Wayne Gentry of the group Alabama, 72 years old. I'm sure Levon Bloom she's probably got Teddy's home address and just sends him birthday cards every year. But Teddy Wayne Gentry, Alabama, 72. We've got Linda Blair of The Exorcist. I wonder if her head is spinning around and she's projectile vomiting today. Linda Blair, 65 from The Exorcist. We've got drummer Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses, 59 years old. We've got DJ Jazzy Jeff, of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. DJ Jazzy Jeff, 59 years old. Actually, he didn't have anything to do with that show, did he? It was all Will Smith. But regardless, DJ Jazzy Jeff, 59. Guy Fieri, spiked blonde hair, eats a lot of food, signs big contracts. He is 56 years old today. And finally, singer Willa Ford is 43. Those are your celebrity birthdays. Once again, Caitlin Clark, of the Iowa Hawkeyes, 22 years old today. On this date in history, good morning to you, Kurt. Gravel roads, according to Kurt Myers, he is on the scene, says rural roads are very slick. So be advised of that. Again, rural roads, I had heard that. I'd seen some of that. So if you're traveling on a gravel road out there in the middle of nowhere, be slow, be safe, could be slick. Good morning to you, Renee. Good morning to you again, Amber. Listening to me is better than yes. I won't say on air what you just said in the comments, Jason, but amen. Amen, brother. Let's see here. On this date in history, it was today, January 22nd, back in 1930, the U.S. Man, you think the weather has been bad here in Iowa lately. The U.S. all-time low temperature was set on this date in 1930. 85 below zero in Mount Carroll, Illinois. 85 below. Can you imagine that? But climate change is changing things. 1930, 85 below. It was today, 1947, the very first TV station west of the Mississippi went on the air in Hollywood. Imagine that, of all places, 1947. 1955, the U.S. announced it would develop intercontinental missiles with nuclear warheads. Yeah! USA, baby. Let's see here. 1968, the TV show Laugh-In made its debut on NBC. It was today in 2002, Kmart filed for bankruptcy. And 2010, Conan O'Brien hosted his last Tonight Show. That ended up being a little bit of a disaster, didn't it? I'm trying to think how things went when that happened. That's been 14 years ago already. Today, on this date, let's see here. On this date in history, on this day on the National Day calendar, it's the National Polka Dot Day. Dang it, I should have wore my favorite polka dot shirt. I don't have any, but I could have made one. National Polka Dot Day. It's National Sanctity of Human Life Day. I think in this day and age, we probably should sit back and at least think about that for the day. National Sanctity of Human Life Day. It's a celebration of Life Day, I guess because we need both of those on the same day. And it's National Blonde Brownie Day. What the heck is a blonde brownie? I like brownies. My favorite brownie is with the caramel stuff mixed in. My wife made some of those here a week and a half ago or so. All right, things you need to know. Let's do this. Macy's, they plan to lay off about 13% of their corporate staff to trim some costs, around 2,300 jobs. So Macy's getting rid of some folks. Let's see here. Sports Illustrated. Of course, Sports Illustrated, was it? See, I don't read Sports Illustrated. Who does read Sports Illustrated anymore? Obviously not enough people, because they're laying off a bunch of staffers, which could spell the end, doom and gloom for Sports Illustrated. Not looking good there. Go woke, go broke. Alec Baldwin, he has been indicted on charges of involuntary manslaughter as prosecutors once again seek to hold the actor accountable for the on-set death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. So Alec Baldwin, they are not done with him yet. Ford. Looks like Ford is cutting production of its electric pickup because nobody wants to buy electric vehicles. We should have put that on the moment of duh. The F-150 Lightning has had a weaker than expected demand because people that drive pickup trucks don't want them to be electric. Duh. The South. How about the South? They can expect a lot of cicadas this spring. For the first time since 1803, 2 cicada groups. Let's see here. I can't even... They're different broods of cicadas. are set to appear at the same time in what is known as a dual emergence. I should have had a cicada sound effect ready, but folks in Illinois, evidently, which, it's not too far away from Iowa, might get some extra cicadas this year. Let's see here. Donald Trump, he's got his son Barron. He was talking about Barron. I can't do a good Donald Trump, other than when he says China, Iowa, China. Donald Trump's little boy Barron. Last time I saw old Barron, he was just a little feller. Evidently now he is 6'7". He's not little anymore. I mean, Donald's a pretty decent sized guy. Barron Trump is now 6'7", 6 feet 7 inches tall. That's a big kid. See here, Snoop Doggy Dogg. Bad news for his family over the weekend, or here lately. The 24-year-old daughter of Snoop Dogg was hospitalized after suffering a stroke. So we wish her the very best. Corey Brodus. So prayers for Corey for a full healing and recovery. Other stuff you need to know, both Adam Sandler and David Spade joined Jim Carrey last week for his 62nd birthday. They were calling it the Laugh Supper. I'm sure there were lots of laughs. You get Jim Carrey, David Spade, and Adam Sandler together around the same table, and you're going to have probably a lot of inappropriate jokes, but a lot of funny stuff. So maybe they filmed that. Hopefully they did. One more thing you might need to know today. Country singer Chris Stapleton, Foo Fighters, Queen Latifah, and others are among the star power set to join the Rolling Stones as headliners of this year's New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. That comes up over 2 weekends in late April, early May. Also performing are the Killers, Anderson .Paak, and others. So New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival going to be packed with lots of talent. Hey, you know what time it is? It's time for Today's Impossible Question. Finished off my morning beverage while that was playing. Today's impossible question. On the average, we have 725 of these. What do you think that is? Again, on the average, you and I and everybody watching has 725 of these. What do you think these are? It's phone contacts. Do I have that many phone contacts? I don't think so, because I don't never talk on the phone. But that's the average, evidently, for the average American or the average person. 725 phone contacts. That's today's impossible question. Man, where is Neil Crott when you need him? My buddy Neil would enjoy this next segment. We have some true facts. Neil, if you're watching this morning, you can chime in the comments. Here are some true facts about passing gas. I think I should just let this song run. Here are some true facts about passing gas. The average man with a healthy diet lets out a quart of gas every day. Not me. I never do such a thing. Now that equals 10 to 15 gas explosions from a human every day. So 10 to 15 farts, that's what we're talking about. It's the elephant in the room, the word fart, every day. 10 to 15 of them. Now, women pass gas 8 to 9 times a day. Dogs, let's see here. Dogs gulp so much air when they drink and eat that they tend to pass gas up to 30 times a day. Wow, gassy dogs. And the average speed a toot is 10 feet per second. I'm not quite sure how you measure that. 10 feet per second on a fart. Fart jokes in the morning, they never get old. The gaseous foods, by the way, are pretty, I think it's obvious. Beans, mushrooms, cabbage, and onions. So, there you go. Fart news. Let's do some weird.
That is weird.
In the weird, you knew this was going to happen. AI is going rogue. As an AI customer service chatbot for international delivery service DPD used profanity, told a joke, wrote poetry about how useless it was, and criticized the company as the, quote, worst delivery firm in the world. Again, this is artificial intelligence talking by itself after prompting by a frustrated customer. So AI, again, doing its own thing. Ashley Beechimp, a London-based pianist and conductor, according to his website, posted screenshots of the chat conversation to Twitter X on Thursday, the same day he said in a comment that the exchange occurred. At the time of the publication, his post had gone viral with 1.3 million views and over 20,000 likes. So, artificial intelligence, one day, man, it's going to be the Terminators. Terminators. It's going to turn on us. Good morning to you, Dixie. Good morning to you, Judy. Thank you for tuning in, hanging out for a little while here on Steve Shuttler Media, the Morning Wake Up. Let's see here. A recent survey says, conducted by EasyJet Holidays among 100 hotels in Europe, revealed a collection of rather peculiar items forgotten by guests. That includes the top 10 most bizarre items lost and found, according to the survey, at hotels: dentures, witchcraft-related items, some prosthetic limbs, a glass eye, let's see here, a grandmother's lucky teacup, a significant amount of German marks, a clown costume, an inflatable boat, caviar, and rosary beads. Top 10 most bizarre items left behind at a hotel. Did you see the story about the six-legged spaniel, the dog? As a unique spaniel with the unusual characteristic of 6 legs was discovered abandoned in a supermarket parking area. Recently, this dog underwent surgery to remove the additional limbs, allowing her to live a similar life to other dogs. Now, the dog was named Ariel after the character from The Little Mermaid. Her extra limb with 2 paws resembled a flipper. So a 6-legged dog, she got the extras removed. She's now a normal dog. Let's see here. Other weird news. We could just do weird news all morning. Fart news and weird news is what we're doing. A contractor working on a remodeling job in the state of Washington was removing a bathtub from the home when he made a surprising discovery inside the wall, which was a grenade. Vadam Karkhavi, owner of Polar Bear Construction, said he tore out the tub in the 3rd floor bathroom of the home in Seattle, revealing a hidden compartment in the wall and an object that appeared to be a grenade. He got the heck out of there. Everybody ended up being safe. Let's see here. You know, there's a movie way back when called Throw Mama from the Train. How about Throw the Cat from a Train? Because that is what happened. A tragic incident involving a pet cat, or if you want to jam those words together, a pet cat named Twix. Here, kitty, kitty. Who was ejected from a train in Russia. Twix later died due to the cold and has led to a public outcry with demands for the responsible conductor's dismissal. This guy was not the conductor on the Polar Express, obviously. This guy's a jerk. Twix, the cat, a white and ginger tomcat, accidentally escaped from his carrier during a train journey. On January 11th, a train conductor mistook the cat for a stray, forcefully removed Twix from the train when it stopped in a town east of Moscow. Now, despite efforts by numerous volunteers who braved freezing temperatures to find Twix, the cat was discovered deceased on January 20th, just over half a mile from the railway tracks. It was reported that Twix had succumbed to the harsh cold and possibly suffered from animal bites. So people in Russia are not happy about Twix the cat getting tossed from the train and dying. Finally, let's just go right ahead and go to the movies. We're missing some of our segments today. We don't have our duh, but you know what? I like
Duh.
I like to hear it anyway.
Duh.
Duh! We don't have our duh. We don't have our files of law and disorder either. That's a bummer. But let's go to the movies. What did you see at the theater this week? Now, my wife and I, we decided to venture out on a Saturday late afternoon to Ottumwa to see the movie ISS, International Space Station. The ISS. And the movie, the plot of the movie, if you watch the trailer, I'm not spoiling anything for you, is that you have Americans and you have Russians on the International Space Station. It's set in current time, and then a nuclear war breaks out on Earth. And both of the teams, one from Russia, one from America, are told to take control of the ISS by any means necessary. So, I mean, the trailer and the plot sound fantastic. The movie was kind of at best. My wife and I were the only ones in the theater. Let's put it that way. On Saturday. We went to the 4:45 movie. So we were kind of in that in-between time of afternoon and evening, but still, we were the only ones in the theater, so that does not say much good. Let's see here. ISS came in at number 7 in its opening weekend and brought in just, $3 million. And 20 some of that was from my wife and I. If we didn't give them our 20 some odd bucks, they wouldn't hit that 3 million mark. They'd have been at 2.999. Anyway, your top box office movies for this weekend. Mean Girls stays at number 1, brought in $11.7 million. I mean, just nobody is going to the movies anymore. The Beekeeper, number 2, with $8.4 million. Wonka, number 3. Anyone But You, number 4. Migration, number 5. Aquaman, a flop, at number 6. ISS. Night Swim, Boys in the Boat, Poor Things. Round out your top 10. So your top movie again this week brought $11.7 million. I don't know. Are the movies just not good anymore? Are people just fed up and not going to go to the theaters anymore? Is everybody just spoiled and going to stay home and watch movies streaming? I think that's the main culprit. And overpriced popcorn and pop and Slurpees, so they're just staying at home to watch the movies. I don't know. I thought ISS looked like it was worth it. I was wrong. I should have stayed home to watch it. My next movie that I want to see, for those of you that are still hanging around at this point this morning, is a movie called Civil War. Look up the trailer for Civil War. That looks good. That's my kind of movie. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it's better than ISS. We'll have to wait and find out. Coming up later on today here on Steve Shuttler Media, we will have our In Remembrance Of video at 8 a.m. We'll have an encouraging word with Kevin Hempel at 5 p.m. We'll have Real Talk with Pastor Aaron Fleming and I at 6:30. At 7 o'clock, we'll have Card Subject to Change, our pro wrestling video at 7 p.m., where we give you kind of the lead-in segment to that show. So lots coming up. We'll have our question of the day, brought to us by Amy's Salon House and Spa, coming up at around the noon hour. And again, your forecast for today, let's bring that up once again, as it's brought to us by the Garden Gate. Winter weather advisory goes into effect at 6 this evening. Could see some possible precipitation this morning, but as mentioned in the comments, if you're out in rural areas, it's slick. So be advised of that. Give yourselves extra time. I know some schools starting late today due to those slippery, slick conditions. So just be careful out there. Use your winter weather driving skills and to give yourself plenty of extra time over the next couple of days. Tomorrow morning, going to be worse, unfortunately, with that winter weather advisory. Possibilities of rain, snow, and freezing rain late tonight into tomorrow. So, all right, that just about does it. In fact, I believe it does do it for the morning wake up here on Steve Shuttler Media. Thank you guys for tuning in. As we mentioned earlier, man, you guys are rocking it with the likes, the shares, the comments, the page, which is not, make no mistake, the page getting over 500,000 people to see content from this page in the last month has nothing to do with me. This has to do with the content that we're churning out here on Steve Shuttler Media. And I think it's just going to get better as the year progresses. We've got Keota basketball. Keota boys are rocking things right now. We're going to have some local racing coverage coming up this spring and summer. We'll get into some football in the fall. We'll have all of our normal programming. So got all of our sponsors on board that make things happen here on Steve Shuttler Media. So you guys are rocking. Sponsors, love you guys. And that will do it for this morning. We could just have a love fest for quite a while here on the morning wake up. But thank you for tuning in and hanging out with the morning wake up in the comments. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Be safe out there. And let's do this again tomorrow morning here on Steve Shuttler Media, the morning wake up.